Hello guys. So this whole lighting situation is weird, I know. Basically, I'm sitting in front of my computer. Here's my computer, this is where I'm sitting. So this very bright light of my computer is shining on my face, which is washing me out a lot. But that's what we're going to have to deal with my video today, because I want to Google some things and react to them. This is probably one of my worst video ideas that I've ever done, but I don't really care. So I was sitting here just at my desk having trouble trying to come up with something to film. So I was like, okay, why don't we Google animal care sheets and react to them. So I wanted to do this because typically when a lot of people are looking to get a pet, one of the first places they turn is Google. And while the internet can have a lot of good information out there, it can also have a lot of really horrible information out there. So let's see what we can find. So I think I'm going to start out by searching veiled chameleon care. So I have a veiled chameleon, I've owned one for a while, and we're just gonna click the first one that comes up. Let's see what this is. Oh, Petco. I love getting my chameleon advice from Petco. What the heck is happening? This website's having issues because I'm Canadian, and Petco. Now we're on the Canadian Tire website. Okay, we're gonna go back because Petco doesn't like Canadians, apparently. Guess we're gonna have to click the number 2 care guide. Alright. Veiled Chameleon Care Sheet by Reptile Magazine. So I'm just gonna scroll right down to housing. Okay. It is best to keep veiled chameleons individually in their own enclosure after they reach sexual maturity at around 8 to 10 months of age. So yeah, you should keep them alone. I would recommend separating them even younger than that though. At 8 to 10 months, they're already fairly large, so I would definitely want to have them separated before that. Veiled chameleons do best in screen-sided enclosures because of the increased airflow. Glass aquariums, on the other hand, are difficult to find in the appropriate sizes, and they create stagnant air that can lead to upper respiratory infections. Correct. So here it recommends their enclosure should be about 2 by 2 by 4 for a male, which is correct. And females can be kept in 18 by 18 by 36. So I would agree with that, although even for a female, I would probably recommend having a 2 by 2 by 4. Lighting and temperature. Ooh, I'm pretty pleased by this. So it actually does mention here that they need UVB, but not only does it mention that they need UVB, it also mentions that they need linear UVB, which is a good plus. It says that they need a full spectrum tube UVB bulb, which is good. You never want to use the compact ones for chameleons. Don't use them. They don't work very well. It says a basking spot of around 85 to 95 degrees should be achieved. I think this is a little low. 95 not so much, 85 definitely. I prefer to keep it around 95 to 100. They do pretty well with like a pretty warm basking spot, so I definitely would go above 85. Nighttime temperature drop, food, insects and stuff. Okay, cool. I didn't find this to be too bad. I think it definitely lacked a lot of information in there. I do want to point out I'm not reacting to the entire care guide because that would just be a really long video, but I don't think it's awful. I didn't agree with the temperatures they suggested, and I think it could have more information in there, but overall, like, there was nothing that really stuck out at me that was like, yikes. Let's search up Leopard Gecko Care Guide. Okay, the first one that comes up is from Reptile Magazine again, but that's where the chameleon care guide was that I just read, so I want to try something else. Let's see what this is. I have no idea what the Spruce Pets is, so let's see what this care guide is. Okay, housing. A 15 to 20 gallon tank is large enough for 2 to 3 leopard geckos. Disagree. But there should only be 1 male per tank and only keep males and females together if you're prepared to deal with offspring. So already I would say that I disagree with this. Leopard geckos are solitary animals. They don't tend to do well kept with other geckos, even if they're not fighting with each other. It's stressful on them. And now, while I don't advocate for keeping leopard geckos together, if you are, you cannot do it in a 15 to 20 gallon tank. A 20 gallon long is the minimum for one leopard gecko, so if you are to keep 2 or 3 together, I would really say you would need a 40 to 60 gallon enclosure. So I disagree with that. So substrate, it says your leopard gecko shouldn't be kept on sand, even if it is calcium sand, as they may ingest it and suffer intestinal blockage. I agree with that sentiment there. Avoid wood shavings. Agree. So it recommends that paper can work because it's absorbent and easy to change, which, yeah, I think that's fine. Paper towel, newspaper, all of that can be a good substrate choice. And it also mentions an indoor/outdoor carpet works too, which I feel like I would have to disagree with. Sounds like they're suggesting that you use carpets like designed for human use, which I would really not recommend at all. Those will hold bacteria and your gecko's nails and stuff can get caught on them. So I do not recommend. Oof, temperatures here. It says a daytime basking spot. Oh, it says 88. I thought that said 83 at first. Okay, 88 isn't that bad. I would probably go a little warmer. I prefer to go from like 90 to 95. I personally like the warmer end of that, but 88 isn't awful, but I think the 90s are definitely better. But at first I thought that said 83, which is why I was like, oof. Okay, so overall I would say not a fan of that care guide. It said you can keep multiple leopard geckos in a 15-gallon tank. It said you could have 3 leopard geckos in a 15-gallon tank, which is please don't do that. I would not recommend that at all. And it really didn't mention much at all about like hides and everything like that, and like enrichment and heating elements and stuff. It did give a temperature, but it didn't say that like they need belly heat and all that stuff, so I would not say that's a very good care guide. Okay, next let's look at bearded dragon care guide. All right, bearded dragon care sheet and supply. So this is from PetSmart. Wonderful. Okay. How do I set up a bearded dragon's home? Once he's fully grown, you'll want a glass terrarium of at least 40 gallons in volume. That's 32 to 36 inches long with a screen lid for him to live in. I disagree with this. Now I know that 40 gallons is the standard minimum for a bearded dragon, but I don't agree with that. I think they need something that's at least 4 feet long, which typically the smallest tank that you'll find that's suitable for them, in my opinion, is a 75 gallon. So these are 48 long by 18 wide. So it does give them 4 feet in length, and then it does give them 18 inches depth so that they can turn around and everything. I have a 120 gallon for my bearded dragon, and she's not even full grown, and I really can't imagine going smaller, so I personally do not agree with the 40 gallon minimum. Let's move on to what can I put in my bearded dragon's terrarium? I don't know, what can you put in your bearded dragon's terrarium? According to PetSmart, you can put 2 to 3 inches of calcium sand. Please don't do that. Or invest in reptile carpet. Now, I don't agree with either of these. Calcium sand has a very high risk of impaction. The gecko, or not gecko, well, geckos too, but the bearded dragon in this case, they can lick it up. Bearded dragons are known just for licking things. They literally just walk around and lick things. So they can ingest the sand and it can cause impaction. And then I also don't like carpet because it can get stuck in their nails, and it also harbors bacteria a lot. Sand also does harbor bacteria. I feel like that's not something people talk about a lot, but sand is a really good breeding ground for bacteria, so really do not recommend either of those. Okay, heat and lighting. So it says that your basking spot should be around 100 and 110 degrees Fahrenheit, which I think, yeah, that's fairly good. Turn the basking light off at night. Okay, so I would say their temperature range is fairly good in my opinion. Bearded dragons are active during the day and sleep at night. They need a UVA/UVB bulb. So yeah, that's good that they mentioned that, but they don't specify that they need a linear UVB. Compact UVBs just aren't very efficient for bearded dragons, so you really should have a linear UVB. For nighttime viewing, switch to a night-specific bulb to keep from disturbing your bearded dragon. First of all, for nighttime viewing, please just don't put a light on your animal who needs darkness to sleep just because you want to see them. Go to bed. You don't need to see them. You'll see them in the morning. Even the nighttime bulbs that they sell, like the red ones, are awful for them. They claim that they're okay because your bearded dragon can't see the color red, which even if an animal cannot see the color red, they still see the visual light. It's just they don't see it the same as we do, but they still see light. They just don't see the red. So it still completely disturbs their sleep schedule, so just don't. You'll see them in the morning. Okay, that's all we're gonna go over here. PetSmart, I'm disappointed. When am I not? Why would I expect anything better? And for the last animal, I think we will look up hamster care guide. Okay, let's click this one here. Hamster care 101, how to care for your pet hamster. Okay, so I'm going to go and jump right down to the caging section. So here it says, a cage. Purchase a cage that is at least 15 inches long by 12 inches high. So it doesn't give any width, it just says the length, by 12 inches high, but opt for something larger if you can give your hamster more room to exercise and explore. Make sure the cage is also escape proof. So first of all, well, it doesn't say a recommended width on here. I'm going to assume they're probably recommending something like a 15 by 12 by 12. Here it just says 15 long, 12 inches high, so I'm just making assumption. But going off my assumption, the cage that is 15 by 12 would measure 180 square inches of floor space. That is sad. If you didn't know, the current minimum recommended cage size for a hamster is 450 square inches in North America, and that is like the absolute minimum. Other countries even recommend bigger, so the fact that this is recommending something that's like 180 square inches, pretty bad. So it also mentions here that your cage should be at least 12 inches high. Now, probably not going to work because a hamster needs like 6 inches of bedding, and then they also need their wheel. And if you have a Syrian, they're going to need at least a 10-inch wheel. So if you have a 10-inch wheel plus 6 inches of bedding, you're gonna need more than 12 inches of height in the cage. So you're probably going to need something that's like at least 18 inches high minimum rather than 12. Bedding, it's best to have the healthiest type of bedding and one that isn't made of wood shavings. So this here is just automatically, wood shavings are fine as long as you're using safe ones. So for example, things like cedar, don't use it with a hamster or really any small animal for that matter. But then for example, aspen is perfectly safe. I use it, a ton of people use it, so you don't have to avoid all wood shavings. Just make sure you're using a safe one like aspen. It does say on here to avoid scented bedding, which is good. That's something you don't see super often, but scented beddings are pretty bad for them because they do have very sensitive respiratory systems, so yeah. Under toys, it says a wheel is a must, which is true, although it doesn't say anything about the size that you need, where for a Syrian you need a 10-inch and a dwarf you need, in my opinion, probably an 8-inch. Some people will say 6.5, but I would say an 8 is a good ideal size. So yeah, I would say that hamster care guide was not very good, mainly because of the cage size that they recommend. So there was that video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. This was just very random. I didn't know what to film, so I filmed this. Just a reminder that PetFest tickets are on sale now. Don't forget to get them. They will be sold out soon, probably. You know, they're selling. VIP is already sold out. Make sure you get your general admission tickets before they sell out. Tickets will not be on sale at the door, so make sure you get them. There's over 20 creators coming. You can read all about it at the PetFest website. It is going to be in Phoenix, Arizona on June 22nd, so I hope to see you guys there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it though. If you did, be sure to give the video a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. Also check out all of my social media. They will all be in the description below. All of that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all next time.